The Pixel Slate has launched to less than stellar reviews. It's a great device, don't get me wrong, but it's missing a few things, and one of those things is a keyboard. So enter the Brydge G-Type keyboard. This is not just another Bluetooth keyboard. So what exactly is this, the Brydge G-Type keyboard? It's not just a Bluetooth keyboard. It is that. It's a keyboard that hooks to a tablet with Bluetooth, but it's so much more than that, especially on a software level. And we got to speak with the founder of Brydge actually on the phone for a little bit and talk to him about what makes this keyboard in particular so special and its relationship to the Pixel Slate. But before we get into all that kind of stuff, I want to talk just about the hardware, like what you're getting out of the box here and why I think this is a fantastic product in general. First off, the whole thing's made of aluminum, and specifically it's the same aluminum that the Slate is made from. If I hold them up here, they look like they're two pieces of the exact same whole. I mean, they went to great lengths to create a product that doesn't feel secondary or third party to the Slate. It just matches up perfectly with it. The color is the same, the feel of it is the same. The fingerprint collection is kind of the same. But on top here, they put a fantastic keyboard that has great travel and great clickiness, that has multi-stage backlighting, a glass trackpad that has plenty of room to work around on it, and just overall this absolutely premium feeling complete package that doesn't feel half thought out. And Brydge has made plenty of keyboards for other high-end devices too. So the iPad Pros and the Surface Pros of the world have had Brydge keyboards for a few years now. So they know how to make great hardware. They know how to make something that you're going to want to type on, that you're going to want to use. One thing that's been a source of conversation around Brydge keyboards in general over the last couple years is this idea that the hinge can crack your tablet screen. And I've heard that, and that was in the back of my mind when I first started using this. And the first few times I closed the whole thing up as a clamshell, I noticed a little bit of white light bleed down at the bottom of the screen. And that happens on LCD screens when they get squeezed. So my initial thought was, oh my gosh, maybe the rumors are true. It's gonna crack the screen on this tablet. So we brought that up in our conversation, and it turns out the only times that has happened in the past were with devices that didn't fit the keyboard they were supposed to be going with, and the devices were actually thicker than the slots here, and it created added pressure, and it's happened a total of 6 times. So it's really not even an issue whatsoever. And he further assuaged my fears by telling us that they've put the device in this keyboard, closed and opened it 2,000 plus times, and then dissected the entire tablet to look around on the inside and saw that there was no structural damage whatsoever. So now that we've got that kind of irrational fear out of the way, the part about this that is so unique is just this idea that I can drop this thing in the slot, it lines up perfectly with the screen, and now I have this more sturdy version of a laptop setup with the Pixel Slate. Is it perfectly sturdy like the Pixelbook, for instance? No, it's still a little top heavy because all the guts are in the top of the screen. That's just part of having a detachable, a tablet kind of setup. But if this is on my desk, I can just pick it up with one hand. I can't do that with the keyboard provided by Google. The other cool part is I can close this down, and when I do, it just feels more like a clamshell. And again, that I can't tell you how similar the metals look on both sides of this. There were times using it, I couldn't even tell which side was up other than the G being there. But when I set it back down, I get a subtle raise to the keyboard as I open it up, and it just feels like I'm using a clamshell. And the minute I'm ready to detach it, no, it's not as quick and clean as the magnetic detachment here, but in general, it takes me about 1 second to pull that thing off, and I'm back in tablet mode as soon as I turn the keyboard off. That is one thing you've got to do with this though that's different than the pogo pins on Google's keyboard, and that's an important note because again, this is a Bluetooth keyboard. There are no pogo pins going on here, and I know that causes some trepidation in some of you when you're going, oh God, Chromebooks and Bluetooth, that's just not been a good pairing. So let's talk about Bluetooth and the way that this thing functions with the Pixel Slate. So we talked at the top of the video about this being a Bluetooth keyboard, but being more than just a Bluetooth keyboard, and I want to talk a little bit about why that is. So sure, I drop the tablet in, hit the power button, it repairs, you know, mouse functionality's there, keyboard functionality's there, that's fine. But this thing was made in conjunction with Google, and that matters because Google is very, very particular about keyboards that go with Chrome OS devices. So you can't just show up on the scene and say, hey, I've got a Chromebook I want to start selling and I want you to put Chrome OS on it. Google has to sign off and say that that's okay. They have to say that, yeah, your keyboard is up to snuff, your trackpad's up to snuff. And what we found out in our interview with the Brydge founder was it's not just that they're good enough in quality, it's the way that they speak to the OS. And that is a very, very unique thing. This device speaks to the OS just like an attached keyboard would on a convertible device or a clamshell device. And what that means is every key press and every mouse stroke gets reported to the OS, and the OS chooses what to do with that. So a 3-finger swipe up that goes into overview mode, for instance. If I were doing that on a third-party peripheral, it may or may not work. We've talked about the Apple trackpad, we've talked about the Logitech T650, and there are certain devices where those things do work and they don't work, and that's because drivers have to be updated to understand what the firmware on those devices are doing. And that's all fine and good, but that's always going to be a hit or miss thing, and the day comes that they stop updating that driver for the T650, well, that trackpad's just not going to work with Chrome OS anymore. None of that is the case with the Brydge keyboard and trackpad setup here, because they speak right to Chrome OS just like a trackpad and a keyboard would that were built with the Chromebook. And that is unique because as Chrome OS evolves and changes and we get new things that happen with trackpad or we get new functions that work with the keyboard, all of those things will just continue to work with this keyboard and trackpad combo because it is speaking directly to the OS. And that is something unique that has never been done on a Bluetooth keyboard for Chrome OS. And I applaud Brydge for what they've done in creating something that's not just unique, but insanely usable and just future-proofed for years to come. So what's not to like here? Nothing really. I mean, it just really goes to what you want to get out of the Slate. If you're buying a Slate, are you buying a tablet first? And if you are, and you want to use it as a tablet, and every once in a while you want to pick up the keyboard, well, maybe this cover is okay for you. But consider it's $200. If you want a laptop most of the time where you can just take the screen off of it, the Brydge keyboard is the right accessory for the Pixel Slate. And oh, by the way, it's $40 cheaper. So you're getting something that is made specifically for this device that has every key and every feature that you would want in a keyboard for the Pixel Slate, and it's cheaper. And it honestly is just more functional than Google's offering. Is it for everyone? Yeah, maybe not. But for me, the overall experience of using the Slate was made better because of the Brydge G-Type keyboard. And so kudos to Brydge for building a product that's not just good looking, but insanely functional, and that brings some really, really cool technological tricks to the table. So before we finish up, this video is brought to you by NordVPN. And whether you're browsing the internet on a Pixel Slate or any other Chromebook or your phone or an iPad, NordVPN has your privacy and security taken care of. If you would like to learn more about their services, go to chromeunbox.com/NordVPN and you can get started today. But guys, that's all for this one. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and until next time, we'll see you.